Hi guys, so today I'm going to teach you how you can make your own base 10 at home. The base 10 we use lots and lots in school because they're really useful for helping us with our adding and subtracting, even multiplying sometimes. But obviously I can't hand them out to everybody, so I thought we would try and make our own at home. Might not be perfect, but as long as they help you, then all the best. So the first thing you're going to need is a pencil, some scissors, a ruler if you have one, preferably a longer ruler, paper. If you don't have paper, then just use whatever you can find in the house, like an empty box, but try not to make it too thick because we're going to have to cut it. So maybe like a cereal box would be best. I also used a felt tip pen at the end to go around the edges and some colour in pencils just to add a little bit of colour, but it's up to you. Now the first thing you want to do is to get your piece of paper and measure up to, on your ruler you need to be at 10 centimetres. Now one thing I want to remind you is, at the start of a ruler they don't always start on 0. There's sometimes a little extra bit at the end, so you want to make sure you're starting at 0 when you're measuring your centimetres. Now line the 0 mark up with the corner of the page and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just do a little mark at the 10 centimetre mark. Then go along the other side and do the same again making sure that the corner of the page is actually at 0 and not the end of the ruler. Go to 10. Once you've got your 2 marks, you're going to grab, sorry I had too many pieces of paper, you're going to grab the top corner of the page, like this, and just fold it over a little bit. Don't push it down, just fold it over so that the corners meet the 2 marks that you've just made. Then once you've got them lined up properly, the corner that's being folded over, you want to put a little L shape around it, like this. And then you should see the 4 points of your square that you can then join up nice and neatly with your ruler holding it very steady in place. Just make sure, you might not have drawn all the way to 10 centimetres, so make sure you're going all the way to 10 centimetres and then drawing it up on the other side as well, and you should have a perfect square. Now, the reason we drew to 10 centimetres is because a group of 100 is 10 groups of 10. So we're going to mark off our 10s within the 100 block. So we're going to put 1 mark, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 and then 100. And then we're going to do the same at the bottom. Make sure it's lined up nice and neatly. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 and 100, 90 and 100. Now once we've got our little marks there, we're going to line up our ruler nice and neatly and draw straight lines all the way down like this, and you'll see our bars of 10 starting to form within our 100 block, because remember 10 blocks of 10 make 100, 10 groups of 10 make 100. Now once you've finished, if you want to make them into ones, you need to go the other way as well. So you're going to be dividing your block of 10 into 10 ones, because remember 10 groups of 1 make 10. So you're going to do the 10 centimetres, a mark on each centimetre on the left hand side, and then a mark on each centimetre on the right hand side. Just the same as we did before, but we're just doing it the other way around now. I'm going to speed this up because I think you should know how to do it. Just make sure you're being very careful whenever you line them up. Press your ruler down hard so it doesn't move, and then draw a line straight across. Brilliant. Now you've got your 100 centimetre or 100 block cube with 10 on each side, because 10 times 10 is 100. Now we're going to get our scissors and we're going to be very careful with this. I've got big scissors, but hopefully you might have smaller scissors at home, as you're an adult knows you're doing them. Just cut really neatly, really slowly along the outside of your 100 block. Take your time and just be careful with your fingers. So now you've got your 100 block, like the ones that we have in school. Now it's up to you, you can do another one right beside it, and then save you time having to measure out as much. Just put a line along the corners and line it up with the edges as well. And use your ruler, draw a line again. And this way you can make lots of 100 squares really quickly. You can do another one below. Whenever I was using A4, so like normal size paper, I was able to fit in 400 squares at a time. Just repeating the pattern. Just being really careful whenever you're drawing them. It doesn't matter if they're not perfect, it's just going to help you a little bit with your maths. Now I decided to draw this line all the way across because I was just going to make 200 squares there rather than having to measure out again. Join up that one. Then get your scissors again and being really careful, cutting slowly along the lines, and you'll be cutting out your 100 shapes, 100 squares. There's another 100. So we've got 200 squares at the minute, making 200. We'll cut down the middle of these two. Cut this one out, which would make 300. And then cut the last one out, which makes 400. Now don't get rid of the last little piece of paper. It's not quite big enough to put in 100 square. I'm going to show you later how we can use that to make other ones. But now you can see we've got 400 squares. I've drawn the lines on one of them because I'm going to use this to make some tens. So to do the tens, we're just going to divide the 100 into the 10 groups of 10 by cutting along one set of lines. So you're going to end up with 10 equally long and equally wide strips of paper. If you wanted to, you could go over the lines with a felt tip pen or just a writing pen to make them a little bit darker. And if you wanted to add in colour, you probably could colour in before you cut them out just to make it a little bit easier for you. So now I've got hundreds, I've got tens. I'm going to use this little bottom piece of paper to make sure we're not wasting anything. And I'm going to make some more tens. So I'm going to use the corner of the page that I haven't cut along because I know that's straight and count and do a line to 10 and then a line to another 10. And then I'm going to see how many full centimetres I can fit in. I can fit in 9. So 1, 2, I'm going to add a little mark each time. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So see the way it's not quite big enough to do more 100 squares. I'm going to go to the other side. I'm not going to do the middle yet because I know the edges are straight, so I'm going to use there. And do little marks along each centimetre. And now what I can do, because I have a long ruler, a 30 centimetre ruler, I can join up those marks from one edge of the page to the other. If you have a shorter ruler, that's fine. You're just going to have to take your time and probably do it in 2 sections. I'm just taking my time holding the ruler nice and steady and making sure I'm drawing not all the way to the edge of the page because it was a bit longer than our 2 groups of 10. So at the minute, really what we're making is, instead of a 10 block, we're actually making 20 because it's twice the length of a normal 10 block. The last one's a little tricky just because it's right on the edge. And there we go. So now we need to do the line down the middle to split them. We don't use 20 blocks. I'm just going to put a mark in the middle in the 10 so I know where to draw to. Line up my ruler nice and straight, and there we go, all the way down. And now we're going to get the scissors again and just cut along. I'll speed this up because you know how to cut in a straight line. Okay, so you've probably noticed that I joined both of my pages up and I've cut them at the same time. Now I've only done this to save a bit of time, but it is quite tricky trying to line them up. So you don't need to do this if you don't want to, but I'm going to try and do it again with the 10s that we drew earlier that have the 1 marks on them, and I'm going to turn these into 1s. Because we've got so many, as I cut them all at one time, I'll make lots of 1s for us to use. And I need to tap them on the table, make sure they're really well lined up. But again, it's quite tricky to do this, so if you want to just do them one at a time, that might be better. It's up to you. And you'll also need quite sharp scissors, so just be really, really, really careful with your fingers. And as you cut them, you're going to notice that they go flying everywhere. So now you're going to notice that we have some hundreds, we have lots of 10s, and loads of little 1s. You can label these if you want to, you can colour them in if you want to, it's up to you, but if you keep them in a like plastic folder or somewhere safe, you can use these for quite a long time. Now I'm going to show you, if you haven't got scissors, how you can do them. So the first thing you need to do is get your piece of paper. I suggest cutting a really big square, so go right as far as the scissors will go and try and keep it quite straight. So just put the paper in right to the edge of the scissors and cut a straight line. Then go around the other side and do the same again, trying to line up where the other cut is. Oh, I was a little bit off, so I'm just going to tidy it up. There we go. Oh. Now you've got your hundreds. So you can cut as many of these out in the same way. You can draw around them like we did earlier, or you can fold them in half and you're going to turn them into 10s. So what you need to remember is, I folded them in half just to make it a bit easier to count along. So it would have been 10 groups of 10, now it's 5 groups of 10, so we're going to try and cut each piece of paper into 5. It does not matter if they're the same length. You'll see mine definitely are not the same length, as long as you know that the long shapes are worth 10. This is a good thing about base 10, is because they're quite different shapes, it doesn't really matter what size they are, you'll still know what they're meant to be. So we're just cutting them into groups of 5. I just folded them in half to make it a little bit easier to count along, to make sure I had enough, but you don't have to. Now if you want to turn them into hundreds, you're just going to gather all of your 10s. I'm just going to take some and I'm going to fold them in half again, making sure they're nice and lined up. Join the two ends to fold them in half. Press them down nice and firm, and then I'm going to open them back out again a little bit so that I've got like a V shape. Then you're going to get your scissors and hook them through there. Be very careful, mind your fingers, and just snip them in half. So now you've split your 10 into 5s. So to make them into 1s, you're going to have to divide them, cut them again into 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. That's how many you're supposed to try and get. Remember, it doesn't matter if they're all the same size, but just be really, really careful with your fingers. Tricky one's always the hardest. And there you have it. You have 1s and 10s, and you know how to cut out your square for your 100s. Perfect. You can decorate them however you want. I coloured mine in and used pen to highlight the 1s and the 100s within each block. You could write the numbers 100, 10 and 1 within them, or just write an HT and an O to remind you what they are. Just try and keep them safe. Try and find somewhere that you can keep them, if it's in a plastic Polly Pocket or even an old Tupperware you might have in the house, because you'll be able to use these lots in the future, especially whenever we're doing addition and subtraction this week, and even in homeworks that you get in the future, you'll be able to rely on them to help you out a bit. I hope they helped, and if you have any more questions, make sure you just email me and I can try and help you out a little bit.